of this next. Oh, we won't wait until the next one comes. We'll do it now. All right. So, welcome to the first episode of Cory's Coding. Hopefully a series of many videos that are going to be on the YouTube channel. It's Cory BYT to promote computer science, programming, but gaming as well. Now, my hope is to tie in all of those three things to make an educational series that will allow people to learn programming from a basic programming skill set to a more advanced programming skill set, but also to kind of show how we can lend some of the stuff that we do in gaming and the things that we enjoy and make that essential focus piece of the programming itself as well, because that's very much an interest for me. So we're going to get into it right now. Now, we're using REPL today, or Replit as I should say. I always call it REPL. I blame the kids, all right? So if I quickly just type, it says repl.it, and you are taken to, if you have not, or if you have logged in and signed in, their initial landing page where we've created a new REPL. Now, we're going to be using Python 3 today. So if you're using this for the first time, just my suggestion is you scroll down, make sure you're clicking on Python and not Python 2.7. That's an older version. Syntax is different. We'll talk about what syntax is and stuff like that during the course of the video as well. But I've already made my REPL. This is one we got today. The focus for today's kind of lesson, or this video, is to look at variables and data types. So what they are and how they can be used. But we're going to have an overarching theme. And the game that I wanted to choose today for this video is a game that I played many years ago on PlayStation 1 that I have enjoyed and have gone back to in my later years to complete. Big ups to Ray for the hookup. It's Final Fantasy 7. So if you have never played Final Fantasy 7 before, you don't know what Final Fantasy 7 is. It's a JRPG. It's a role-playing game, Japanese one, that sprung up in the 90s and was probably... Whoa, hey Siri, calm down. I don't know why Siri's listening to me right now. That's what happens, live video. That's what happens. Right, I took my watch off because Siri's stressing me out. If you haven't played Final Fantasy 7 before, it's a role-playing game, consists of many characters, and I'm going to bring it up on screen for you in a second so you can see what characters they are. Drop this in here. So if we get let's see where we can find this. I think this is the one. This is what we want. Okay, right. So Final Fantasy 7. So in essence, your main character, Cloud Strife, who is ex-soldier, that arrives in a town, Midgard, that is kind of I don't say assassin's not the right word. What is he? A mercenary for hire. Gets paid to go and do some stuff, right? He meets some of the other crew. So Tifa and where's Barrett? Barrett, where you at? Barrett Wallace. All right. He had one of the best character designs for me ever in anything. All right. And the story kind of progresses from there. Now, I don't want to go into too much gameplay today because I want to focus on the program itself and kind of description of the program. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to set up some variables that we're going to use over the course of a number of videos that will allow us to create a program that will generate characters, HP, so their actual health points, attack points, and form some sort of battle or random encounter where characters can level up and get a random amount of XP, obviously capped at a point, right? So for instance, if you're fighting a small enemy, you wouldn't have a massive amount of XP gain. Doesn't make sense, not a boss. But that's the plan, okay? So, Final Fantasy 7, we're going to jump straight in and we're going to create a number of variables. Now, the first thing that I want to do is to create a character that is in essence going to be Cloud. So we can assign this to a variable. Now, a variable normally is just believe it or not, they actually call this in, I believe it's an AQA syllabus, a box that contains something, which makes me feel ill. It's a place in memory, so a location memory. If you imagine like a little block that will store data and store value, right? So you can imagine it as a little box. So we could call this anything that we want. So we could call this character 1. I'm going to call it char1, which is our first character. Now to create a variable in Python is really simple. You give it a name. Now it has to be one word. Now normally you can do different cases and stuff like that. We're going to stay away from that for the moment, but you can give it one word. It cannot be two words, it can have spaces. Right, so if I said char1 like that, Python doesn't like that. Invalid syntax. It gives you an underline. Just going to zoom. Actually, I'm going to come back out a little bit there, that's fine. It gives you a little underline which says invalid syntax. That means it's not written correctly. So in essence it's kind of like a programming grammar, right? So we've got character 1 and we're going to set this to the name of Cloud Strife. Okay, if I can type, let me just move, it's got a wire on my keyboard here. Cloud Strife. So that's our first character. Now we can set HP and stuff like that for our different characters. I'm going to show you how this variable can change, because what you might decide actually during the course of the program, that character might change name, the value might need to change for this character in particular. We're going to look at the different stuff around that in a second. So I've got a variable here called char1. Alright, so we're creating a variable. If I can type. For a character. Name. So this is obviously Cloud. But the thing to notice is that we've actually got these in speech marks. Now, anything that's inside speech marks that is in a variable, stored in a variable, is referred to as a string. So the strings can hold any type of characters, numbers, values. We could decide to put anything in here right now. Right? It wouldn't matter. Spaces, you could put anything inside of a string. It can hold anything. It's like a container of different characters. So any character you can display on the keyboard, you could display inside of a string, and that would show up if you decided to output it to the screen. All right. Now in this instance, we just need to be called Cloud Strife, so we're going to use it to represent text. Right. Now we might want to apply some HP, for instance. So if I do this now, I'm going to call this C1 HP. So I've got my character 1 HP. Now normally you would assume the character's health is set to a value. For instance, we may start with 100 HP. Alright, so that's on a base level. So on a base level, the character's HP is set to 100. As the game progresses, HP increases, your damage output increases, stuff like that. Okay? Now, it's slightly different here. We've got the numbers lit up in green, which means something slightly different. Actually, the variable we've created here is a different data type. Now, if you consider their whole numbers, when you think to maths, right, and someone says, "Oh, what is the word for a whole number?" If I said it began with I, it would probably tell me an integer. It is exactly that. So this is a whole number. Now, it can't be used to represent decimals, because decimals we will have to do something slightly different, and we have to use a different data type. Okay, so if I just add this now, so creating a variable to store health points using an integer data type, which is fine. Now I'm going to add another note here, create a variable for a character name using a string data type. Alright, so we've got two variables created. Now this is a lot of comments from me. Now these won't do anything in our programs, but it just gives me a chance to be able to explain on screen what is going on. So when people come back to programs like, what's going on? What's he made it? What's he done this for? Then people have the chance to have a look at the code and understand it a lot more. And what we try to teach our students is actually, when someone picks up your code or has a look at your code, can they understand and interpret what is going on screen? Okay. So we've got our HP there. Now we might decide actually we need to create some sort of variable that can store decimals. All right. Now, when we're talking about programming and we're talking about Python, and particularly for the OCR syllabus for GCSE, we use floats, also floating point numbers in essence, right? So they can represent that decimal point that can change at different places. So again, a different data type. So that is a float. So if I want to do this now, I'm trying to think about what we could have as a decimal. We could have an XP multiplier. Yeah. All right, so we'll just do this really quickly. So we'll call this XP mult, right? Now the XP multiplier, so it might go to times 2.5. So again, we're using our naming convention just for our variable, so XP mult. We've got our operator here, which is our assignment operator. We're going to assign it the value initially of just 2.5. Okay, so we now have on screen 3 different data types. A string, which is representing our word or name there for Cloud Strife. We've got an integer, which is representing our HP for our character for C1, character 1. And then we've got an XP multiplier that we can use and we can apply across a range of different characters. And we'll look at how that works in a second. So I'm just going to add my second bit of, well, my third bit of comments here, just this. So creating a variable to store the multiplier for XP. So we're going to use this to level up the character and see how that works. All right. Now, we've got 3 different data types here at the moment. I'm going to stay with those 3 for the moment. Now, some people may say to me, but Cory, there's so many more. There's different ones that you could have. There is. But we're going to put a cap today because we're going to work with the 3. Because I want to build this program up so we can generate a character that goes into the start of our game for our Final Fantasy. I want to call it a remake. I have Square Enix calling me up saying, Cory, you can't make a remake of a remake. It's not possible. All right. I won't do that, don't worry. So we've got that for our character now. Now what I want to do is just to show you there's ways actually that we can create variables by asking the user to do it for us. Okay, now the first instance what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly output these 3 different variables to the screen so you can see them in our output window on the right hand side. So you see how to do that. Now if you've been in any of the videos beforehand, if you've seen any of the videos that are probably attached to this video or somewhere in this YouTube channel right now, you will see that we have our random pick selector from FootChamps, where we talked about print statements before. But because this is the first video of the series, I want to show you guys how to output things to the screen in Python, which is really simple. Okay, you just need to use the function print. Now to print any variables to the screen, all you need to do is to place the variable names inside the brackets. So if I put char1, which is our character 1 name, if I now print this, when it runs the program, it will deliver for me the name of our character. Okay, so it's really simple. Print brackets. Now that's especially if you're just printing a variable, because that variable is holding our data. So that's my first one. If I want to print the HP of the character, I might want to do C1 HP, which is a capital there. And if I want to print the multiplier, I can do that also. Now you'll see these are just values that are going to appear on the screen. So when I run this again, it's just going to display in essence what we've got as our values inside of our variables. So all of them appeared there, Cloud Strife 100 and 2.5. Now you might say, well, hold on, Cory, I don't want to do this. What I want to do is I want to be able to enter my own values myself. How can I do this? That's a good question. So what we can do, and we'll work in the same order. That's the one that I wanted. In the exact same order. So we'll go with the character name, so character name 2, C2 HP, and we'll set a different HP perhaps, and then we'll set a different multiplier as well. So to do that, some slightly different. So we'll call this one char2, and we need to allow the user to enter something in our window on the right hand side. All right, so they're going to do that themselves. So if I say char2 equals, so I'm assigning it the value of an input. Now this is another function. So we've looked at 2 different functions now, the print function and the input function. Now inside the input function, I can put a question. The only thing I need to do is to put it inside speech marks. So I've got char2 equals input, and then inside my brackets of speech marks, the question I want to ask, what is the name of your character? Question mark. I'm gonna drop a space in there as well because it makes it like a little bit tidier. All right, so we've got now a variable that we're going to create. Oh, my computer's telling me I need to free up some storage. And then it's going to allow me to input that value of the character over here. Now what I'm going to do really quickly is we'll just test it to see what happens. So we get Cloud Strife 100 2.5, so print statements from before, and it asks us to say, what is the name of your character? Now I can type this in. We could do Barrett. Is it Barrett? Is 2 R's and 1 T, and then Wallace. That's one of our other characters from Final Fantasy 7. Now at that point, as soon as I return that, the program will do nothing. I haven't told it to do anything yet. Okay, so we're going to have to program the next part of this. Now what I might want to do is to create another two separate things. We're going to look at that now. So that was my input for a string. Okay. So I'm just going to put a note above this. So I'm going to scroll down because I've just realized that it's not going to show on your screen. Okay, so this is for our child 2, so our character 2, and then an input for a string. Now if I want to do this for my character health, something slightly different. So we're going to keep the same format, so it's going to be C2 HP. C2 HP equals. Now, this is going to be the different part. We can't make it an input. There's going to be a problem. An input will normally take whatever you put into your input command. So as soon as you start typing, like I did Barrett Wallace on the right hand, and set that to be a value of a string. So what we need to do is to force our input to take a different type of data. Now we can do it really easily. Just use another keyword. So if we put int here now, and then brackets, input, open our brackets again. Now it gets a bit crazy. Now what I teach my students is this. Double this. So I'm gonna move this away so it doesn't come up with all that text. So double this, double, like still came up, that. All right. Two sets, or a set of open brackets, a set of closing brackets. So whenever I go around and I check the errors and they say to me, oh, this doesn't work. Double this, double that. What are you doing? And they're like, oh, so I missed a bracket, right? So that is the format of what you need to do. Whenever you need to input a string, input an integer, you need to make sure that you've got an integer input, not just a basic input. Otherwise it won't actually take it as a number or as an integer. It will take it as a string, which will give us some grief in a moment, and we'll see how that can give us grief. So we've got an input. So what is the max HP, or we'll say the current max HP. Whew. Excusez-moi for your character, question mark. So we've got our int input data type variable here. So an integer is being actually placed inside this when we run our program. Now our third one, and we talked about this beforehand, is a different data type, and it's actually a floating point. Now the key word in Python is actually float. Okay, so if we do our xp mult 2, so this is our second xp multiplier, so it might be a different one. To input that one, we're going to follow kind of the same fashion as we did with the integer one. Put the keyword first, brackets, input, brackets, and then our question inside of our brackets. So again, really easy. Float, which is our keyword, because we want it to be that data type, so we're forcing it to be a data type. Input, we open our brackets again, and then we need our question side. So we're going to say, what is the multiplier? We'll say level multiplier you would like to use. Question mark. Right, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you guys can see that. So we've got 3 different variables here that we're taking, all have different data types. So I'm just gonna put those on top. String, integer, and float. Now, if we run this, it's gonna allow us to enter our data, but it's gonna be a slight problem. Mouth's getting a bit dry. There's gonna be a slight problem. We're gonna enter all that data, but it's gonna do nothing with it. So we need to do similar to what we've done here. Now I'm gonna cheat slightly. Just gonna grab what I've done there, save myself the effort and time, paste that there. Now all I need to do is change the values that we've got here. I've just gone F11 for no reason. So char 2. Now this is C2 HP because it's our second character, and this is our XP mult 2 because it's our second multiplier as well. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to shift this across so you guys can see this on screen a lot easier. If I run this now, it says Cloud Strife 102.5, that is our output from beforehand, so that's this section that we've got here. And then we actually have now our input section it's moved onto, so the program's running this part of the program. What is the name of our first character? So we can say Barrett Wallace. I had extra space there. What is the current HP for that character? Now we can put, I'm going to put a whole number. I'm not going to put a decimal number or any text. We're going to do this right now. So if I put 150, that might be the HP that Barrett's going to start on. And then what is the level multiplier that we might want to use for him? We're going to reduce that slightly so Cloud can level up quicker. And we're going to set that to 1 Should we say, I will say 2. I'm going to put 2.0 because I can accept that. Okay, so we've just got slight difference. I'm going to scroll down here because Zeke has blessed me there. That's what we're going to allow. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom out again so you guys can see it. So I just wanted to bring across the output screen there. Zeke, what's up, by the way? I see you in chat. So we've got the start of our program. We've got 3 different variables for our cloud character, right? Cloud Strife, Final Fantasy VII. We output those variables to the screen so you can see those on the side as well. So if I just highlight those in your output, and then as we scroll down, what we started to do was to allow inputs as well. So we had an input for the character name, an input for the character HP, and an input for the character multiplier as well. After that, just like we did with the one before, just outputting the character values to the screen. So they are 3 different ways and 3 different types of data that you can use with variables in particular. Okay, now the plan is in the next video to see how we can actually take the values and level up a character based on an event and to push their values up, in particular XP. So before I leave you today for this video, the one thing that we need to add is an XP for the characters. So the current XP so we'll call it C1. We'll make sure it's exactly the same, right? C1 XP. I want to stay in the zone, all right? So we'll set this to 0 at the moment. I'm happy for it to be 0, and then we'll do the same for Barrett. I'm gonna be really lazy. I'm gonna copy and paste it, and I'm gonna drop that in there as well. Now the reason why I'm not allowing an input for this one, I'm just reading chat right now, and Zeke is telling me something about one of our camel cases or our snake cases. I stay away from snake casing. If you watch this video and you know what I'm talking about already, I stay away from snake casing. C2 XP, we set that to 0 as well. So I'm just going to quickly put another hash. Now all these programs that we create are all going to be readily available. I'll put the link in the description of the video below. And I'll also make sure that it's attached on Twitter, so everyone will have access to these programs. You can take with them, you can do what you want with them, you can show them off, you can just don't pretend that you made it, right? Because obviously you can just give me a little bit of credit, that's fine. So I'll see 1 XP character 1 XP, or I'm going to put current because it is the current XP, and then we'll do the same if I scroll down. So for Barrett we'll do C2. Did I say C1 or did I say character 1? Character 1. All right. I'm just trying to be consistent, right? Ray, how you doing? It's all good. It's all good. We're starting to build this Final Fantasy VII. I want to say a game, but it's going to be like in essence a game, but it's going to be programming concepts that are focused around a game in general. I chose Final Fantasy VII because I'm a little bit hyped about the remake, right? I'm allowed to be. Character 2, what we're saying here, current XP. Right, that's fine. So that looks quite good to me. I'm going to quickly zoom out if it lets me. See how that looks right there. All right, that looks okay to me. It might be a bit small on the screen right now. I'm just looking at a distance. If I was looking at this in a programming context, could I read it and understand it? Yeah, I'm going to add inputs to these just so it makes sense. And then input. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I've never been able to deal with snake case. Never. But anyway, we need to close out this first video. I need to put a marker on Twitch. So if you like what you've seen in this video and you want to learn more programming, particularly in Python and particularly around video games, twitch.tv/itsCoryB. We stream most weekends. There'll be a stream programming focused midweek and one on Sundays every week. But if you like the video, hit a like, subscribe if you're interested, and then feel free to share it as always. And I'll see you next video. Peace.